I'm Bobbie Ashley. Good morning. It is 66 degrees at 8:21, and I've got a special guest on the phone. We are chatting with author Michael Kleen. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Bobbie. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. And you've got a brand new book out. It's called Witchcraft in Illinois, A Cultural History. And I have to say, I read this over last week, and I really enjoyed it. I have to say, Michael, I was not aware of the, I mean, whenever you hear of historical stuff, you know, with witchcraft, you always think of Salem, Massachusetts. You don't think of Illinois.
Yeah, that's been a big focus on any book on this subject. It's always New England and Salem, but a lot of people don't know that there was quite a bit of witch belief in the Midwest. Not only in the 19th century, but also in the 20th and the 21st century. Of course, you still have people today who believe in witchcraft.
Okay.
And so the book really goes from the earliest days when the French explorers came to Illinois to the present day. It's really a comprehensive history, and it's something that hasn't been really written about before in a book, so I'm pretty excited about this.
And I love the fact that there's a lot of different cases, even here in central and southern Illinois.
One of the cases your listeners might be interested in is this one from Franklin County, the Williams sisters. It took place in 1871, and there are two daughters of a man named James Williams, who was, I believe they were 16 and 18 years old, and they said they were bewitched by a woman in the neighborhood who made them do all kinds of weird, like, dances, and they would vomit up objects and eat flies and just do all kinds of bizarre things. And word got around, and, like, hundreds of people came around from all over to see this happen. And it was reported on all over the country. But today it's really very few people remember this, if anybody.
Well, and I, you know, when I read that story in the book, it kind of gave me, you know, was reminiscent of Salem in the fact that, you know, you had the young girls, you know, pointing the finger at an older woman.
Yeah, and there was a lot of that at the time. It was kind of generally the idea of the witch in Illinois was inherited from the Old English stereotype of an old woman, you know, kind of a lone person living out in the wilderness somewhere, like bewitching neighbors and stealing milk from cows and turning cows' milk bloody and all that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that was definitely part of the folklore.
Oh, yeah, and I saw, too, where you also had a focus on a witch in Decatur.
Yeah, that was an interesting, brief little story where the newspaper in Decatur reported on an old woman in a Polish neighborhood. Although the people spoke German, when they talked about calling out the witch, you know, they said it in German, they quoted it. So I kind of wonder if maybe they didn't mistake the people for being Polish. But at any rate, it was just an old woman in the neighborhood, and everybody blamed all these unfortunate incidents on her. And as is the case with a lot of these news articles, they don't really follow up on the story. So unfortunately, we don't have a conclusion to say, like, how that ended. There's a number of cases in Chicago where they would report on the trial, but then you would never find out
how it ended.
What happened.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know that, Michael, you are also known throughout this area. I know that, did you go to Eastern University?
I did. I went to Eastern Illinois University and also Western Illinois University.
Okay. And now you have also written other books about the paranormal, specifically in southern and central Illinois.
Yeah, one of my books, my oldest books, is Tales from Coles County. You can't really even get it anymore. I think it's available on Kindle, but it's just a collection of stories, ghost stories and folklore from Coles County. I also have Haunting Illinois, which is like a tour guide to about 250 places throughout the state of Illinois. I'm currently working on an update to that one right now.
Okay. Well, I have to say, it was really a fascinating read to read your current book, Witchcraft in Illinois. And not only do you talk about the beliefs that they believe in, but also, the history within the state of Illinois, which is really fascinating.
Well, one of the coolest things, I think, was that I was able to verify certain, items of folklore. Like they say that the witches use these magic hairballs to kill cattle, and I always thought, well, that's just a myth. They would find these hairballs in cattle. But I actually found photos from the National Museum of Medicine. They have a collection of these. They're called bezoars, basically like hairballs in animals, but it would build up, in the cow, and the cow would eventually die. And so the farmers would accuse witches of killing their cows with these magic hairballs. So it's kind of interesting to see the story, but also see, like, a real object, that's the focus of the story.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much. Tell us where folks can get your new book.
Well, of course, the book is on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Okay.
But it should also be in stores. And if it's not in the store, call them up and, request they order it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Coming up, we're going to be giving away a copy of Witchcraft in Illinois. And one lucky winner is going to be winning that. And, Michael, thank you so much for joining us.